got me, they don't got me, they don't got me, they don't got me, they don't got me cutty but nutty. I put my life down. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I put my life down. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I put my life on. They don't got me cutty, I get nutty. I get my life on. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I get my life down. They don't got me cutty, I get nutty. I put my life on. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I get my life down. All day and all night long. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I put my life down. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I put my life down. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I put my life on. They don't got me cutty, I get nutty. I put my life on. They don't got me cutty but nutty. I get my life down. They don't got me cutty, I get nutty. I put my life on. What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Cuddy Slam, the host of Cutter Kitchen, the Kickback Podcast Show. And this is season 3, episode 8 for you guys. And I'm back like I left something, as I always say. Give me a little drink in me right quick. Now, if you're watching this video, or you're watching this podcast episode, you would notice I said it's episode 8, and you probably haven't seen episode 6 or episode 7. So a lot of reason behind that. I had episode 6 set up for a special event, a special episode that I was going to take back home and do it for the homies, which I'm still going to do that. They're still in the process. We just haven't had time to make that happen with the COVID-19 going on and people's schedule are off and just a lot of other things have been going on. At the same time, it's only right with me to keep the show going and not let one episode hold me back. And I will say I have been a little slacking a little bit for us doing my episodes and throwing them out there. I think I did episode 7 a couple weeks ago. That's in the pocket as well. I just haven't had it. It's something going on with the loading process of me putting it on the drive where I can actually do the editing and load it up to give to y'all. So there's something going on with that. But I can't let that hold me up either, so that's why I'm giving you this episode right here, which is episode 8. I'm gonna try something different this time. As you see, I don't have a guest on the show. I don't have an audience. I don't have anybody that I'm gonna have ask me questions or intervene with me on situations, which is kind of cool sometimes because half of the time, if I do that when I have a guest or extra personalities, I leave out some content or the narrative don't get put out the correct way, I should say. Even though I like having guests on the show, I have a line of guests that want to come on the show. But that's a whole nother subject right now. Until then, I'm going to do it this way right here. Also, I promise y'all that I was going to do 3 episodes a week. The live in the channel up even more. I'm going to get back on that track right there. But besides all that shit right there, though, there's a lot of other bozo shit been going on. Since the last time you probably seen one of my podcasts, we did talk about the coronavirus and quarantine and how it affected the world and how's everything shut down, the bars, restaurants, the only places that are essential that you can go out and go to. And then they open it back up. And when they open back up everything, I'm gonna take my time on this right here. Normally I'd be running off the mouth and going over shit, and sometimes I miss out, so I'm gonna leave it out. But like I said, the COVID came, and then they opened things back up 25%. Then it went to 50%, and then as more people started coming out, y'all noticed the crime had stopped too when the COVID came. It wasn't nobody doing no police brutality. It wasn't no shootings going on. It wasn't any type of crime going on. As soon as they open the streets back up, you start hearing these stories again. And you had the Breonna Taylor, first it was Breonna Taylor, then you had the guy in Georgia that was running and jogging. He ends up getting knocked out by some guys. I never heard the finale on that. I don't know what's going on with those guys or that case or whatever happened. It went over my head. A couple of weeks later, or 3 weeks later, probably I say a month later, you had the George Floyd situation, and that right there is
that right there changed the country. Because now you got the new generation, you got everybody coming together, you got the Black Lives Matter back marching, you got the protesters, you had the rioting, and with all that going on, people forgot about the COVID-19. They forgot about social distancing. Um, they was like, it's justice got to be in the situation now. Forget what the COVID is, damn all that. And as time went on, the next week later, 2 weeks later, Rayshard Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia, he gets killed at a Wendy's because he was drunk. They say he fell asleep behind the wheel. He didn't know where he was at. I gave my take of that on the video, and I will say this: I never did say he deserved to die. I'm gonna say it again. I never did say that Rayshard Brooks, I never said in my video that he deserved to die. What I said, and it's on the caption, the title, Rayshard Brooks, I blame him for his death. It's not saying he deserved to die. I said I blame him for his death. Me saying that, if you watch the video, you wouldn't even argue with me on what my opinion was or how I felt about it. You would have said, okay, he did do that, but all those emotional debates that you have with people, I just watched it down the toilet, man. I have no time to go back and forth with somebody about something because they're in their emotions. I got a lot of backlash from some people. Well, in the comments, you had about 4 or 5 people talking shit in the comments about, nah, I shouldn't have said this or said that. Well, what I should have said then? Say what y'all wanted to hear, to sugarcoat the situation, that what you wanted me to hear? Fuck no, we don't do that. By the way, this is the Kickback Podcast Show. Let me make a toast for y'all. I get a couple of backlashes on that. I was on Facebook. I actually threw the video off YouTube that I made and shared it on Facebook, just for my friends and close ones can get my perspective about how I feel about stuff, because that's what I do. And a couple of people agreed with me. A lot of people said, they agreed with me, but they'll sugarcoat it with the fact, they'll say some shit like, he still didn't have to shoot him. No, he didn't have to shoot him. But they trained to shoot to kill, I guess. But my take was that, shoot him in the leg. Shoot him in the leg. Only because you wouldn't hit an artery if you hit him somewhere like in the ankle or in the thigh. I mean, not the thigh, the calf. Anywhere up top, let's say thighs, hips, stomach, chest, back, you hit them up there anywhere. They seldom to die. Those are killer marks. Like I said, I got a bunch of backlash from that. Rayshard Brooks, his murder, and I think the guy got the death sentence on that situation. And then like a week later after that, like they distracted us with all this stuff. Keep in mind, like I said, the COVID-19 was the big addition. Then they came with the guy jogging in, what's his name? Arbery. The guy Arbery, he's jogging in his neighborhood. He ended up getting shot by some hillbilly guys. They end up getting their sentence too as well. Then the next couple of weeks happened, you had the George Floyd. After that right there, you have Rayshard Brooks. All that right there, all those situations covered up the COVID-19. So now, with the government and police getting dealt with by the what you want to call us, the citizens of America. Now that everybody's on their ass, and now you got some of these hillbilly motherfuckers if they behind their computers and shit talking all type of shit with that white folk shit. They doing that shit now. They behind their computers. They trolling. They saying they feel like they deserve to die. Then you have the majority of the people who saying the police is wrong. So what do we do to shut these people up and get them back in the house off the streets? Let's say that this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring back up the COVID-19 and bring up more deaths. Let's bring up the COVID-19, saying the numbers are going back up and it's being effective again. Let's shut down this motherfucking streets. Florida and Texas, two first states to shut back down all bars. This happened last week. By the way, I'm in Dallas, Texas. And it didn't affect nothing that's going on around in our end because we still have mostly everything still open. But if you're gonna shut down bars, you might as well shut down restaurants. Anything that has something to do, don't even go to church. I still see churches are still open on Sundays, but they want to tell us to shut down bars and in other places. You're affecting people's money. Now these people right here just got out of unemployment. They went back to work, cut their unemployment off. Now they shut back down again. So now they got to draw for unemployment again. It just doesn't make no sense. Shout out to you people, man. I hope y'all doing well out there, man. But you're going backwards again. But it's just a way to keep people out the streets and make them cooperate again. And I tell people this all the time. I've been saying it lately. The news and media makes human beings cooperate better than the law does. The law can tell you to do one thing, you're going to disobey it. CNN, Fox News, anybody, any media, they ask y'all to tell y'all to do something and something about to happen, y'all abide by it. Doesn't make no sense to me either. It's tripped out that a bunch of people on TV with some ties on, with a bunch of makeup on, can tell you about something and you comply about it, and the police will tell you to do something, ask you to do something, and you disobey it. So I feel like the news channel should be the police, because they know how to make motherfuckers cooperate. Another thing, like I said, I'm taking my time. I don't have a guest. I don't have an audience. I'm going to take my time with this because I want to give it to y'all loud and clearly, and I don't want you to mix up the narrative, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from. That right there being said, man, what was I? I had a point that I was about to make when I was going with that, but that's another case. They try to find a way to get us back in the house, and then all of a sudden now the news on the channel is just 5,000-mile sandstorm that's coming from Africa that's supposed to hit the lower states of America. You know, the southern states like Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas, places like that. Is that a myth? I don't know. Is it going to be effective toward us? We still don't know, because if that's the case, I'm pretty sure if it's on its way here, that means it passed a couple of other countries before it got here. Show me what it done to those countries and cities around the country or the world, and then I probably have some belief in that. But that's just another way the news and media control us and make you cooperate. It's just another way the news and media controls you to make you cooperate. It's funny how they can do it, but when the police ask to do something, not taking no police side, by the way, when the police ask you to, ask you questions, ask you to follow through on certain stuff, or handcuff you, why you just can't follow the rules? Why you gotta resist? The news tell you one thing, the media tell you one thing, or a celebrity tells you one thing, you run with it and believe it. Speaking of that right there, I'm sick and tired of people looking at these sites and stuff off Facebook or whatever, or Instagram, instead of clicking on the site and reading it to see what date it is, or not even that, seeing if it's true or is there something else behind it. You run off and run with the caption that somebody else shared, and you believe it right out top instead of reading it. Stop doing that, people. Y'all need to start reading the motherfucking site. Whatever's the link is on there, read the link. See what it says. Do the back end of the story. There's a back end of the story. You got to follow through before you start preaching about stuff. That's why I tell people all the time, I just don't go off on things and rant about things off top. I don't do that head first. Not when it comes to fucking business or somebody else's business or somebody else's story. I get a back end story about it. I do my research, man. That way when I do deliver the message out or the content, or whatever you want to call it, I won't be leaving out anything and I won't sound dumb. And y'all do know me, sometimes when I do bring up conversations and I say what I say, that's all I know about what the situation is. That's why I'm not going to go no further with all these other cases that's going on. Another thing, going on right now, this might sound crazy. The situations that are taking hand right now is separating America and it's bringing together America at the same time. What I mean by that, you have people, for example, the white people who don't fuck with black people, or never have, or they got any type of prejudice or racism toward them, they're gonna move further away anyway. That's where the division is at. Then you have the other white people who just wasn't speaking out, being silent about other incidents that took place in the past. They're starting to bridge the gap and come on this side with the black people now. A lot of young people, a couple of mid-aged people, they're starting to understand what Kaepernick was kneeling for. And that's what I mean by saying it's dividing us and it's bringing us together at the same time. Because you got the people that are already against the culture itself, they taking 2 steps back further. You got the ones that was being silent, not sure about what was going on or how they should take the situation. They actually bridge the gap and they bring it more back together. You go out there to the protest, you see white kids, Asian kids, Mexicans, you see everybody protesting together. No justice, no peace, fuck racist police. You hear all that. That's beautiful. We love that. Is it gonna change? My take is already changing. With that activity taking place, it's the change already is moving. It's already moving to where we wanted to be at. Now, as a black man or as black people, are we gonna accept these people and love them like we say we need to love them and like be equal like we want to be equal and don't have those prejudiced thoughts? Because when I say that right there, when I say prejudiced thoughts, they say black people can't be racist, but you can be prejudiced. Because there's plenty of times, if you put it like this, you have to label a color in front of somebody that you identify. That's kind of like being, I shouldn't have to tell you, yeah, my white friend is coming over here. I got me a white girl. Now just say I got me a great lady. Her name is such and such, blah, blah, blah. Hey, my homeboy John's about to come over here. I don't need to say my white homeboy, my white friend John is coming over here. You don't have to say, hey, my black friend Terry is cool. It shouldn't have to be like that, white folks. It shouldn't be no color before anybody's identity. You shouldn't have to explain me as a black friend of yours. Just explain me as a friend of yours. Prejudice is a motherfucker. You still got these white people, these black people that, and the reason why, because they're disturbed by the white people that's the dirty hillbilly, country bumpkin, tobacco chewing white people. They are disturbed by them people, so it kind of makes them take evil thoughts to all white people. You see a black man with a white woman, first thing you say, he with a white bitch. No matter how good she is to him, or how she got his back, or how submissive she is to him, your whole thing is you see he's with a white girl. You don't know if he's happy or sad or whatever. You can see that same black man with a black woman and be like, oh, they look so beautiful, look at that black love. At the house, it ain't no black love. They probably arguing and screaming at each other. Police probably come to the house twice a week for domestic shit. You don't know that. You can't tell what beauty is, man, until you see it. That's just not. I'm gonna get out there right there. Y'all know you know what I'm talking about. You hear me? It's Cut Occasion, the Kickback Podcast Show. The kickback is not gonna always be the same. Y'all seen those seasons or episodes where it's a lot of people, it's a big gathering, it's food being cooked, drinking. There was time we were smoking weed, but I can't give it to you like that every time. If I want to put out the content that I need y'all to hear and that y'all waiting for, I gotta do it whenever I can, as much as I can. I will announce this to y'all. I've been suspended on Facebook for 30 days, going back and forth with some people, and I was tagged in a post, and it's funny, you know, these hillbilly white folks, they can go off and say all the crucial shit that they can about you and post all this type of shit like that. When you retaliate back and start hitting them with your bullets and saying shit to them and commenting on them, they get all pussy and shit and want to report your comment. And Facebook looks at your comment and want to suspend you based off what you said to them. Why Facebook can't go back and look at the comment to make you say what you said? They ain't doing that though. Facebook, you need to start doing that. Facebook will be quick to suspend a black person for going off on some white folks, but let the white folks talk shit about black people on Facebook, they won't do shit. And it be the white people that be reporting people. And nothing against white people, I'm just calling it as it is. I told y'all, I have an objective perspective mentality. Everybody is food. Facebook will tolerate anything. If a motherfucker won't report you, man, you will never get suspended. It takes for somebody to report you to get suspended. Even though Facebook has rules, Facebook ain't gonna say shit to you, man, and nobody else ain't. But they will look at your history and see how much you've been going off and how many times you've been suspended on Facebook, and that's make your ice thin. People like me, I got thin ice. They see me post something, no matter what I said. If somebody went against what I said, they gonna report it, and Facebook gonna fall behind them and gonna suspend me. They not gonna go back and look at what they said to me to make me say what I said. And what they said about me or whatever was more harsh than what I said to them. It's just I made it sound good. It was funny to everybody. So I get reported. Fuck all that. It doesn't matter. I don't need Facebook like that. I mean, I got other platforms and links and stuff that I can talk on or let out my feelings about things. So it is what it is on that. And like I said before this podcast, I do like to interview guests. I created this platform to recognize the unrecognized, whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, you own a nail salon, hair salon, you're an activist, preachers, anybody. It's not all about entertainers, but we're gonna talk about some shit and we're gonna let some shit out for the audience to feed their fucking mind, give them some guts, fill their gut up. I don't want anybody on my show that just want to come on here and talk, just to talk, or try to come on my show to make me look bad. I do have that. I do have people who want to plan it out. I want to come on the show just to debate with you and talk. Why you want to debate with me about what? Because all I want to do is research my facts and lay the facts out there. And you want to debate me on my opinion? I'm 42 years old. You're not going to change my opinion about something. I'm already molded into how I feel about a situation. Now, only way my opinion will change, the only way my opinion will change, if you come to me with some facts in black and white or from the horse's mouth. It's the only way my opinion will change. Your opinion is no different than mine. Evidently, I'm thinking the way I think or feel the way I feel because that's just how it is. You want to come over here and, on my show to debate with me about music and hip hop? I don't want to debate with you about no top 10 rappers. I don't want to debate with you about who's the best of all time and all that. That's an opinion. You can tell me who you like and who you think. I'm going to tell you who I like and who I think, and we're going to let it ride. I'm not going to waste my whole show, man, 60 minutes on debating about bullshit that ain't getting me nowhere. I got other things I want to talk about. I give you a 15-minute segment about some other shit, and we can go on to another subject, but we're not finna burn time on some bullshit because debates turn into arguments, and and the arguments change energy and temperatures, and I don't want that. I don't want that. It's not with my mind, no way. Like I said, this episode 8, man. Kickback Podcast Show, Cut Occasionally Kickback Podcast Show, and here I'm back at it, man. I've been watching a lot of other peers of mine. They come climbing up on the charts, man. Takeover TV, man. Shout out to them, man, for getting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, man. I'm trying to get to that mark myself. They in partnership with YouTube. Them guys been grinding, man, nonstop. They been having guests on their show nonstop. At the same time, people, they believe in them. They audience believe in them. That's why they subscribe to them. I see a lot of other people coming with their podcast platforms. I seen Troy Ave. He got his podcast jumping, The Facto Show. I've been I've been into his music since his first mixtapes, Bricks in My Backpack, and I've been watching his moves and his listening to his music, and out of all the bullshit Troy Avenue been through, man, the shooting at the Irving Plaza Center in Queens, New York, all the stuff he's been through, and the backlash he's been getting behind the death of his bodyguard. I like this. I like how he dealt with the adversity, man, and I don't know if the case still pending. We're not here to talk about the case, but I like the fact that he's still doing his music and he got a platform now where he can control his narrative and nobody can't. Other bloggers can't cut out what he say and make it seem like he dissing on somebody or he said this right here to make him look bad. Or I'm glad he created his own platform because for a while, for like 2 years, everybody was at Trav. Nobody know if they should fuck with him or not, or if they should, whatever the case may be. Nope. The thing about the audience, man, we don't even know the back end or the deep end of the story. We just go ride with who we think is the coolest in the lobbies. So shout out to Troy Ave, man, for doing this podcast show, man. And he created a platform for him to get his word out. And there it goes again, man. Another rapper / celebrity creates a podcast show, and podcasters like me, we have to compete with them because they doing the same thing we doing. And now, if I was a celebrity or an actor or anything and started me a podcast, people gonna subscribe to me, look at my shit just because I was a celebrity. I'm a guy that nobody knows outside of my box that's trying to climb. Now it goes back to the situation. When I started podcasting anyway, it wasn't no actors, no basketball players, no whatever, entertainers doing podcasts. Podcasts was just normal guys, comedians or whatever, coming out from their home, doing a talk show with a camera and audio or whatever to get their point across about some shit. Now you got celebrities doing it, basketball players doing it, anybody's doing it, everybody's doing a podcast now. So it kind of make it, when you see Stephen A. Smith podcast, and you got me right here, and you got JJ Redick right there, and you got Joe Budden right there, and you got that person right there, you're going to watch my podcast last because you never heard of me. You don't know what content you're going to get out of me, but you're going to watch their shit first because you're aware of who they are, and they look more appealing to watch, I guess, because they celebrities. Me, I'm gonna give you the same thing they give. It's just I'm not a celebrity, which goes to this why I say, and it's why, and check this out. They don't get me wrong. These celebrities, they go to our channel. Us lowercase ass niggas, they go to our channel, man, and they bite out some of our stuff that we do or we say. They take some shit, they take an ingredient out of our podcast and add it to theirs. I watch a bunch of podcasts, and there's a couple of podcasts out there that I say, oh yeah, he had to get that. He watched my show before. He took some out of my repertoire. He added it to his shit, not all of mine, but he took some out of my shit and added it to his show just a little bit, that way it won't be sense, you know. You can't see it. So we gotta compete with celebrities. But guess what? You gotta keep grinding. And that's why I tell people, if they do shit twice a week, you gotta do shit 5 times a week. That's how you gotta stay ahead of them, and that's what the point I'm trying to get back at. I realized I gotta do this shit back at my speed that I had to do it, and that's just what that is. The next part of the show I'm gonna talk about, because I gave y'all this right here, and I'm gonna give y'all a little break on some things right now because I'm gonna take a little small break right now, refill my glass up, and we're gonna come back up and we're gonna talk about some other shit.